Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief. And tonight we are looking at the Glenmorangie, the original 10-year-old Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, matured in ex-bourbon cask, and they use first fill bourbon cask as well as second fill bourbon cask for the full maturation of the 10 years. I had a look online, quite cheap and affordable for a 10-year-old, and I paid €32 for this bottle, 40% ABV, and of course it will be chill filtered as well. I had a look about the coloring. If I do add some coloring to it, I will again after the video see if I can find out more information. But if I do add coloring, it's not going to be much. It is a very light straw color, so not a lot of color on it, especially for a 10-year-old. And I think the only reason that they have such a light color is because of the first fill bourbon cask, and when using that second fill, so all the color and all the previous bourbon has been pulled out of the wood, and you are left with a very light colored whiskey. And of course it should also then translate into a little bit of less tannins in the end. So not going to be a long video, and I was a little bit surprised that I haven't done this one. This is something that I've tasted so many times previously. This is my go-to whiskey when I go via Turkish airline into Istanbul airport and I go to the lounge. The first thing that I always do is grab myself a Glenmorangie. Unfortunately, that's the only one that they normally have. So that was my go-to dram for many years at the lounge in Istanbul. So surprised that I haven't reviewed it. So tonight, definitely going to change that, do a quick review on this one. So on the nose, on the Glenmorangie original 10-year-old Highland Scotch whiskey, absolutely light, inviting, a little bit of a floral note, a little bit of a citrus note. Absolutely just fantastic light whiskey. Even if you stick your nose in it, it just gives you a little bit more. Now, when I poured it the first time, it needed a little bit of time in the glass to open up. On your first pour, especially on a neck pour, you're going to have very subtle notes coming out. But with a little bit of time, it does change and open up and give you all this nice light aromas. So citrus, definitely a sweet citrus note, a little bit not orange, but I would say more like a lemon type of nose, or maybe a little bit of going into a little bit of a grapefruit, but a citrus note, but not a sour note coming out. I also get a little bit of the vanilla notes, and of course ex-bourbon, ex-American white oak, that will impart some vanilla notes. And I do like a little bit of a vanilla note. A little bit of a green apple also appearing. And then I get a little bit of a caramel note. Not a overly sweet caramel, but that caramel note is definitely there. So I think it's quite a basic whiskey. Not complex. Just give you those couple of things that you can pick up on the nose. Light, pleasant, with that hint of the sweetness. So quite an interesting one, but not a complex one. So on the taste, cheers. The first thing that I do get, it's quite a thin whiskey. Don't get a lot of the alcohol, only 40%, but it feels to me a little bit watered down. So that is a little bit disappointing for me. But after getting past that initial disappointment, I'm left with a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a creamy toffee note coming out. Maybe into a caramel as well. But that toffee note, caramel toffee note is definitely there. But not an overly sweet one. Let me just try again. Definitely nothing complex. I get those couple of notes coming out, that little sweetness, a little toffee note, a little bit of a caramel note. The citrus definitely not coming out in the taste, more on the nose. And then I get a little bit of an oak. And I think it's a good thing that they also use the second full cast and the first full cast, a mixture, so that the oak is not going to be overpowering. I think if they just left it in the first full or the second full, I think the oak would try to overtake this nice, delicate flavors coming out. Quite a dangerous one, I think. Let me just give it one more try. I keep on going back to it, so it must be quite good. Quite dangerous because you don't really feel the alcohol, because it's a little bit of a watered down, a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a creamy note coming out now, a little bit of a toffee note coming out, a little bit of a caramel note, a little bit of a vanilla note. So this is all these things that I do like in a whiskey. All this just covers your mouth, and as soon as you swallow it, the brain is telling you maybe it's time for another one, and so it can go on and on and on, and definitely not a good thing. Nothing complex about it. And I think this is also advertised as in cocktails, maybe a good highball. So they are not pretending to be one of those high-end whiskies. They are not pretending to be an overly complex whiskey. They are not pretending to be a fantastic whiskey. What they are saying is something that you drink and enjoy and you forget about it. And I think that is a good way of drinking this one, especially when you sit at the airport and this is available. Give it a try. Just one more try for me, and then I'll finish up. I can drink this like water. Nice, pleasant, fresh, citrus, and it makes me happy. So, score wise, because of the 40% ABV, because of that little watered down taste that I get, I am going to give it an 82 out of 100. I would love to taste one at a high 46 or 48 ABV. I think this can be quite an interesting one. So thank you very much for watching. We are now more than 500 subscribers. Lots and lots of comments coming in. I will always try to answer all the comments. If you have a whiskey that you haven't seen on my channel, I think I've done now more than 250 or 260 videos. So there's a wide range of whiskies from all over the world. If it's not there, consider asking me to do a review on that. I will definitely try to source the whiskey. Of course, it's not always possible to get some of the whiskies. So thank you very much. Please remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Helps me to go to my next level of 1,000 subscribers. And of course, the 4,000 watch hours, so that we can monetize, maybe use that money for children in South Africa going through a tough time. There's a link in the description. There's also a link in my bio for my Patreon account, buy me a coffee, merchandise. 100% of that money goes straight towards the children in South Africa. A worthy cause. We've been sponsoring them for the last 3 years, and it was a privilege to give back to the community. So thank you very much for watching, and I see you next time. Cheers.